I guess it's gonna be a dark episode. Apparently,
Yeah, no, look, I don't even.
we're gonna go into the trenches of like anger and emotions from a father's perspective, I guess.
You go to sleep. What are 4 good things? And if you can't think of 4 good, like really, really good things, just think of 4 things that were like, you know what, that wasn't so bad.
It's okay to have a messy house.
Yeah.
Let's throw it out there. If you're a parent, you most likely have, unless you have some type of maid services, unless you have assisted child care, your house is most likely a mess. And it's okay. Or at least we're saying it's okay.
It's okay
to make ourselves feel better. Welcome everyone to another lovely and caring episode of Calling All Dads. I once again am your co-host Dom with my brother and co-host Ralph.
What's up, bro?
Nothing. It feels weird. It really feels weird. Hasn't been much drama, at least not media-wise, or at least nothing I've been busy enough to pay attention to. But
the one thing that a lot of people are like making noise about now is the 2 things is that the girl in Fort.
Yes, and that's the story I didn't happen to catch up on, but I did hear.
Oh man! Apparently, one of the guys that was like they were like targeted.
Was a suspect.
He took his own life.
That I always try to put myself in those positions as a parent. Like, what would I do if, again, my daughters? I have daughters. If my daughters were to go missing, and as crazy as I sound, I would run up on that military base and get answers.
Every day. You have to.
That's wild to me. I know, obviously, like, Dom, you can't do that. Yes, I know.
I know, yeah. But I mean, as a father, I guess like that.
Yeah, that wouldn't, and I'm sure, I'm sure it doesn't sit right with the parents. I'm a very short fuse.
Yeah, and especially
and I can't imagine the kind of crazy I would get, had anything, especially something to that magnitude happen to my child or any of my girls, especially my girls. Like, I know they say like there's like that's not a stereotype. What they call it when girls can do something but guys can't, guys can do something but girls can't. Double standard.
The double standard.
So it's like a double standard. Like, okay, if it was a boy, I'd still be monstrous, but I definitely know I would be more monstrous given that it's my daughters.
Yes,
given that
of course.
I'm more sensitive towards the female.
But you know what? I don't even think it's more of a sensitivity thing. I think it has something more to do with the fact that it's like, like women are viewed as, nurturing, as, innocent in a sense. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, boys, it's like you think about boys, you think, football, you think sports.
Yeah, you think rough, you think crazy.
But when you think about a girl and then like you think about something like that happening to, oh my God.
Yeah, I would lose it.
Yeah,
I would definitely lose it. Definitely condolences to that family. And
man.
Again, man, I don't know who I am, but do your thing and then get your truth. Don't stop fighting.
Don't stop fighting. Definitely share it, repost it.
That's just wild.
Yeah, you got to show up every day at that office, that military base.
That's your life after that. Like, I don't care.
Whatever else is going on, it takes a permanent backseat.
Yeah, it's hard for me to talk about this because I start, I obviously can't put myself in their shoes, but I start like my mindset starts getting towards it, like if I'm in it, like what would you do, Don? Like how angry would you be? And like I start like almost like kind of shape shifting over to that mentality. That's got to be rough, and that's a tough situation where, again, as a dad who has girls, I would scorch this earth for answers.
Absolutely, and you have to.
And it reminds me of a story. I forget the exact details. It was sometime a while back ago, Throwback Thursday, where there was a case where I don't know if it involved rape or it involved murder. Basically, it was a father. The guy was on trial. Again, I don't know if it was rape or murder, but basically, the father himself went to the point to like literally execute the guy outside of the courtroom.
Oh yeah.
And I think the jury found him not guilty.
I mean, listen, look, you're.
But like I can, I see that, and I can, not to sound crazy, like, don't get scared, people, but I can see myself doing that because you know, and my and Joanna tries to talk me like she talks me off the cliff like on so many of my like very extreme ideas. Because I know like my ideas are extreme. Like Dom, you can't go into courthouse, shooting the person, and I know it's about forgetting. I know there's a whole bunch of stuff into it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
just know the character I am. I'm very
Yeah,
I don't know,
passionate.
passionate. I'm very again, I cried during Logan, so
I mean, yeah,
this,
exactly.
this
There you go.
and it's not a movie. So this being real life, like I couldn't, being honest with myself, looking in the mirror, say I would be able to control myself.
No, and rightfully so. Like, look, I'm not giving anybody a green light to go do
Yeah,
anything
please
like
no.
that. No, but I mean, if you give me all the context and you give me all the information and
Mm-hmm.
it's something of that nature, then I'll be like, look, yeah, was it still wrong? Yeah, it was wrong.
Yeah, no,
But yeah,
definitely.
so was hurting that girl. So was taking that woman's life. So was raping that woman. Like I'll put context to it and I'll be like, yeah, look, it's wrong for somebody to go kill somebody. Absolutely. But at the same time, I look at it and I'm like, well, if I'm a father and somebody hurts, my kid, then I'm gonna want to get my own justice. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have you seen the justice system fail so many people, like
Yeah,
repeatedly? You know what I'm saying? And not to bring it up, but there was that one incident where this college guy, he raped a girl,
oh yeah, we talked about
and
that.
then he gets probation,
Yeah, that never
basically.
happened.
Like, so what are you telling the girl and her family?
Yeah, like, deal with it.
Oh well. So like I guess like when you put context to it, it's like yeah, it's not right either way, but
Yeah, it's not right. I'm not condoning violence or
yeah,
what's the action or reacting in the same matter. But again, I try to put myself, and I'm being honest with myself. I'm
no, of
human.
course, yeah,
I'm very, passionate. I'm very impulsive at times,
yeah, okay,
and I couldn't see myself being able to keep that control. And this is me being honest again. I love my girls. It's
of
just
course,
I just don't. I'm more. It'll be more amazing to me for the people who can.
yeah,
And I don't mean in the way where they feel helpless and like they don't do anything, but the people who like genuinely like, okay,
we're
and,
gonna we're
and
gonna have our
I'm
day,
Christian and I'm all about forgiveness and
yeah,
prayer, but at the same time, like
oh
let's not
man,
forget there was revenge and stuff in the Bible. It's
yeah,
not against my human DNA to
yeah,
do so,
to
and
feel that way.
and
And again, like not to say it like like oh because girls and boys are different or anything like that. Like I feel like especially for a father of a daughter. I'm not a father of a daughter, but like if I was, like I can only imagine because I would probably do the exact same thing for Matthew. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But then I can only imagine how I'd feel if you feel like kind of like they violated your little girl,
of
and
course,
for
yeah,
a father, I can only imagine that like it's like your daughter is always going to be your little girl. Like perfect example, I always look at my little sister like my little sister, right?
mm.
But she's only
Yeah,
like a year and like
she's kind
6
of
months
grown.
younger
She's
than
kind
me.
of grown.
You know what I'm saying? But to me, it's like no, like that's still my little sister. Like that's still the little girl that we burned her little Barbie dolls. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So, like to me, that's how I'm always gonna remember her. So I can only imagine like if I actually had a daughter, and then it's like somebody goes and does something like that. It's like no,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, so I definitely give kudos for those who can play that card to keep their composure. Again, it's tough situations, and again, every time I think about that, again, I automatically, again, as a father, switch to that parent mentality. Like, yo, if that was my kid,
oh my yeah,
whoo, oh, like,
the
you
whole
know.
world, the whole world would feel it.
So, and again, and I know it's different. I know again, there's going to be so many loops because again, who am I to go barging into a military base? It's not going to happen that way, and I
Yeah,
know it's not going to happen that way. But then I can only imagine like not being able to either get justice or being able to get answers or just blatantly being ignored, which this family obviously was
absolutely
as they were
for
trying
a
to
long time.
get the whereabouts of their daughter. Like that's insane.
And then it's like, how do you keep that like as a cover up? Like,
There's so many things I want to say, but like I don't even know if it's like politically correct. But it's again, we'll go back to episode one. It's lack of action and accountability for everybody in power, or and
absolutely,
everybody on the higher end of whatever hierarchy there is in the military. There's no
absolutely.
way that happens. It's just I'm sorry, as the military is as strict and disciplined as they claim they are.
Yeah,
There's no way that something like this happens and nobody has a clue about it.
exactly.
It's in my mind impossible. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't have a great understanding of of how well disciplined or whatever how the system works.
Yeah.
And by all means, I'm always open. Anybody in the military, please educate me so maybe I can understand how things like this slip through the cracks, because it'll help me again maybe
put some context.
Put some context to it. Have a little bit more understanding as to okay, why this is why the parents going to get their answers. Stuff like that. But as far as I know, which I'll be honest, mostly comes from movies. But I've had some family in the military, and for the most part, they have a strict schedule. They eat, they train, they sleep. Everything's pretty scheduled. Everybody knows where everybody's supposed to be, one way or another.
Yeah, and that's how they know if you're not where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, something's wrong.
So yeah, for me, it's not adding up. And again, another part of the frustrating thing where again, people in power.
Just kind of like brushing under the rug.
Either brush it under the rug, or again, are covering up things that have no business being covered up.
Absolutely. And the other thing that is actually like weighing on my mind, and it's been weighing on my mind since the beginning of the week, the ICE, the immigrants that are getting detained.
More? I thought they were getting released.
Yeah, now I recently just found that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like this world. This is
so somebody posted something, and it was like, oh, there's 3,000 kids that are missing. And out of the kids that aren't missing, a lot of them are reporting they were like sexually abused or assaulted or whatever. It's like, yo, you are a special type of scum to do that to anybody, but moreover with kids, like
I just don't see
it. How do you do that to kids? Like that eats at me, because it's like, yo, how do you not see that what you're doing is wrong?
And that's playing on the psychology of the thoughts of things, like how twisted or what happened that made you think that was okay, or again, I know there's mental illness. I know there's things out there that can affect somebody's perspective and their thought process, but
like, how do you get that far?
Yeah. I guess this is gonna be a dark episode. Apparently,
yeah. No, look, I don't even.
We're gonna go into the trenches of like anger and emotions from a father's perspective, I guess.
It just like I can't picture Matthew in one of those little cages with a blanket over him, or not even a blanket. It looked like aluminum tinfoil, basically, or somebody hurting him because
we're not being able to do anything about it.
Yeah, man, that's
like these kids getting ripped away from their parents. Yeah, that's got to be the roughest situation to be in as a parent. Knowing that
absolutely,
you're being detained, and obviously, these parents either being, immigrants and maybe not knowing the English language, or just being physically forced into things that they don't understand, or nor do they probably understand the people detaining them, if they're even getting an explanation.
Yeah, exactly.
Nonetheless, and just to feel that lack of power, or the lack of hope in that sense, has got to be.
It's frustrating, man.
Either really frustrating or like really defeating. Like I can imagine how defeated, a father and mother must feel seeing their child being taken away, and then, sometimes not even finding them again. Like that's gotta be.
And look, I'm not
on
even
another level.
I'm not even trying to say that like it like just let them all in and whatever, or let them all into the country illegally, whatever. I'm not even saying anything like that. Like, I'm just saying, man, like if we're the greatest country in the world, right?
So we say.
So be great. You know what I mean? Look, I'm not saying let them in, or whatever, but like help them. They're obviously here for a reason. Like, look, man, nobody takes a journey like that, knowing that you could either die or be detained, lightly. Like, that's not something you do like on the weekends. Like, hey man, you guys want to try to cross the border?
Go to America?
Like,
try to have a better life?
Like, that's not something you do lightly. Like, that's something that you do because you want better for your kids, for yourself, as a parent, whatever. But it's just like, yo, why can't we be better than that? Yo, it's been bothering me all week.
And I understand that because, again, I think it's gotten to the point where, yes, America does have, we'll say better rights, better freedoms than a majority of the country.
Yeah.
And I think we've embraced that for quite some time. But I think we, as a nation, are at the point where we're almost just bragging now, just to brag. Like, half of the stuff, like...
It's like past tense.
yeah, we're just pretty much we're keeping our title because we don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we're the best, but we do some pretty messed up stuff to the people in this
Yeah.
nation. But we're still the best. Like, and that's the whole thing where like people are like, oh, go get out of this country, go to move to Europe or move to Canada if you.
Canada's actually not that bad from what I hear.
Oh well, I mean they have some regulations that I
I
know
mean,
I'm not
listen,
cool with.
yeah,
But in the same respect, look, regardless of how great this nation is, that doesn't mean we should settle or be content with the faults of it.
exactly.
And then a lot of people, they'll take the better of the two evils, but at the same time, like, okay, if we're gonna be great, let's be great all the way through, and let's not just talk through
Yeah,
the gaps in our teeth.
like let's not like don't do it halfway and then just pout your chest like, oh,
Yeah.
but we did it like
We
got
only
this
killed
far.
50,000 immigrants this year. Like, how's that
Like,
good at all? Like,
yeah,
because you killed less than what Afghan, or you killed less than Iraq, or you killed
exactly.
that's again. I'm not saying that's happened. That's a weird comparison to make. Like
Exactly,
to say you didn't do something as much as the next country.
exactly. And yeah, man, like again, like that's just something that's like been bothering me. I know that I saw the article where they released. I don't remember if it was all of them, but I know they released.
It's a couple 100,000 though.
Yeah. To
That
let them know. Exactly.
100,000. That's like a football field of kids.
So you can fill a stadium with these people, and
And
you
that's
feel confident, you feel proud about keeping them detained.
and that's a
in
weird
that manner.
con. Like you don't even put that into context. You start putting like, okay, a football field filled with kids, like not grown adults,
Yeah,
kids.
like it's not like Sunday fun day where you're besties, where you're going to a football game. It's like no, there's little kids that could fill up an entire stadium that are
been
being
ripped away from
detained,
it.
ripped through. Oh my god, I can get. No, let's not talk about that. All
All
right.
right, we're gonna lighten this up.
I
But yeah, so
had to
between
get that off my chest.
nah, pretty man, that's what this is here for. Yeah, so between that first issue and issue number two, again, I hadn't caught up on it. So like for me, I felt like I had a break. I was actually busy at work, so like again, not looking into the media, not kind of seeing it.
Yeah,
Felt pretty light. Like it felt boring in a sense. It sounds weird to say.
yeah.
But, it wasn't like okay, like I don't have to think about the next weird argument or the next weird debate.
Thank God. Yeah,
You
what?
know.
Yeah, absolutely right. Because like now that I'm back to work, obviously I try. Before my whole thing was I hate watching TV, and why? Because it's like TV always gives you the roughest situations, and of course I know that they're trying to sell news and whatever it is, but they never put like good things on the news. And I hate to say that, but it's like they don't.
Yeah, rarely. It's like one good thing for every 6 bad things or something like that.
So it's like what? Like I get tired of watching the news because it's like 14 people died in bombing today. We whatever, we arrested somebody, but they died. And again, I'm not making light of the situations. It's just like you get so used to watching bad news on the news that you're like, I think these people are just competing for who has the worst news.
Yeah.
And that's terrible in a sense. Because it's like, then, on top of your regular daily struggles, on top of everything else that you go through, it's like, now on top of it, like, you can't even watch the news and,
You get a heartfelt message or.
Yeah.
This is weird, but again, it's not even news now. It's like everywhere. Yeah.
Social media does it.
On Instagram, I'm like, cool, sports, a couple dad channels, and then deaths. Like how did this even get in there? And I try to unfollow. I definitely don't follow news channels. That's for sure. At the same time, like I try not to not be in tune because again, I don't want to just be in a bubble and pretend everything's all hunky dory either.
It's not. Man.
But it's like as soon as you open that door, it's just like you're gonna have all this negativity. You can't just like really pick and choose what you want.
Unfortunately.
So it's it's a weird combination of okay, I want to be in tune, I want to be aware, I want to be mindful, because in the same respect, it does benefit me because again, a lot of people take their positions for granted, where they are in life and stuff like that, and
absolutely.
And again, hearing these situations and it's not to necessarily compare, but it's like thank God I'm not in this situation, or thank God I haven't gone through this or that. And it's like, I learned to be more content and stop being less whiny about the little things in my life. in comparison to what's going out there in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, another weird balance and silver lining to things that again I may not like, but in a sense sometimes helps me balance, being content
Where you're at.
with where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, again, yeah, definitely. I want to say that because, like, I mean, I'm very happy with everything that I have in my life. Do I want more? Obviously, but I mean, that's always a good thing. You know what I mean?
Normal.
Never settle, I guess. But yeah, dude, like, I always try to. Whenever I go to bed, this is something I always try to do. Right? It's like I always think about the day, and then it's like I want to remember 4 good things. It doesn't matter about all the bad things that happened, but 4 good things. Any 4 good things that happened to me that day. I was on time for work, which lately I have been. Very proud of myself for that. Very proud of myself for that. Did I read? Did I work out that morning? Something like that. Like, where it's like, you know what? I know that there was bad and rough moments during the day, but again, whenever I want something like a good, like, happy memory, and I've been doing this lately. I scroll through all the pictures on my Instagram,
That'll do it.
and I always see majority of it is Matthew or whatever. So, like, whenever I see that, it's like, all right, you know what? This is what makes it better. This is something that, like, all right, I'm gonna go sleep today, and then tomorrow I'm gonna wake up, and this is gonna be a good day.
Yeah. Yeah, set the tone and
Yeah.
set the mentality for yourself, even if it's the night before.
Yeah.
I was
Because
telling Kathy, drink water the night before, and that next day, diet's on. Like, but I mean, it sounds funny, but it mentally could help you. Like, even if again you met having to get up in the bathroom at 2, hey, that's you flushing everything out and cleansing. Start has commenced. Like, it's time to go.
Kathy's gonna love that.
Yeah.
For like a day.
But I get what you mean. Like, like you said, try to take, maybe I'll try that too. 'Cause
Listen, I definitely wanted to mention that because, like, it's something that I've been doing recently. But yo, it's really, really good. I feel like, all right, like, especially now because, like, I'm back at work, so, like, I always feel like the pressures of work. It's like, oh, did I do this right? Do I have to go in tomorrow? Do I have to go fix this? Like, oh man, I wish I didn't have to work so long or whatever. And then it's like you go home and you're like, oh, I'm tired.
Yeah, you don't want to do
this,
anything.
whatever. And then I would always, like, now I'm like, no. Before you go to sleep, what are 4 good things of the day? And if you can't think of 4 good, like really, really good things, then just think of 4 things that, like, were like, you know what, that wasn't so bad. But it changes, like, you sleep. I sleep better. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I could do this again.
I need to do that because I have an issue with turning off my mind.
Oh,
And like being able to, like, I'm always thinking about the next day versus, like, as it's always this has always been me.
I read something. It was like, oh, if you're anxious, you're thinking about tomorrow. If you're sad, you're thinking about yesterday. But if you're at peace, you're thinking about right now.
Okay, scholar.
Instagram magic.
Thank you, quote of the day. That's not. Yes, I guess I'm always anxious. I think it is reasonable. Being honest with you, I think it would be reasonable to say I mean, because I'm always kind of like, okay, what?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not sure if it's like my attack strategy, but I'm like anxious to be like, okay, let's get into tomorrow and let's go so I can knock out whatever I'm
like I need to do
thinking or egging to do.
Yeah.
That's a good point because I don't know. Rarely am I ever in the present, like unless I'm settled down in the living room watching the girls kind of play around and do their thing, and I'm like, it's kind of like slouch over and like really have no cares in the world at that particular point in time. I'm rarely in the present.
Try it.
I will.
Try it.
I can see myself like, Dom, where are you? Are you in the present? I start talking to myself like, what did Ralph do to me, bro?
Quote of the day, man.
I definitely will try when I go to sleep because, again, my mind never turns off. That's one of the reasons why I'm like nocturnal. I can't turn it off.
Look, man, I'm telling you, try it. I know, like, from my past experiences with, like, the way that I was, and I'm talking about, like, recently, like, prior to, like, the COVID thing, like, for me, it was always, okay, like, you have to do A, B, C, and D today, right? On top of work, on top of this, on top of that. And then it's like, you still have to squeeze in time with Matthew. You still have to, do the most. You have to go clean this. You have to, like, basically, like, I was always trying to process everything all at once in a list. And the problem is that it's like, it's good to have a list. Why? Because, I'm forgetful with certain things or whatever.
Yeah.
So, it's good to have a list so that way you can be like, okay, I did this. All right, good. I don't have to worry about that. Boom. I did this. I
Yeah.
don't have to do that. Great. But if you always make a list, the problem is the list never ends. If you do a list on a day-to-day basis, you're always going to add something different. So the list is only going to get longer, and your energy can only make it so far throughout a day. You know what I mean? So like, I would go to work, and before I would work crazy hours. I would wake up at 6:37, go to work. I wouldn't be back till like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So for me to go to work and work 12, 14-hour days, it became so routine. And I'm only saying this now because like now that I can reflect on it, it's like that'll never happen again. Like
Yes.
I would rather focus more while I'm at work, and then once I'm done with work, that's it.
Drop
No,
it.
work
Yeah.
is done. That's it. Like it doesn't consume my life. There was times I used to take things home from work,
Yeah, I know that. You just tell
and
me.
and and I would work at home. And look, it's not a bad thing. It's not a terrible thing, but it's just something that it kind of consumes your life.
Yeah. Especially when you're a parent, though.
Exactly. Especially when you're a parent. And is it fair to your kids?
Not so much.
So, I mean, like me personally, that's what I took away from it. And then after like this whole thing happened, I think it's because I had so much more time at home
Hmm.
that I was like, oh no, like I can make like my regular like day work and with a certain number of hours, and then I gotta like be here. Like Matthew's not gonna be like, oh, I understand that dad's working,
No,
or
yeah, not at this stage. Well, not at this age that you don't want to have them understand anything. Again,
yeah,
my mother has always said, like, she did things for us, and we lived rent free for so long because we didn't ask to be in this world. We were kind of brought into it.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
she felt that responsibility to not have us have certain worries or things like that, because that's just the truth of it. Like, I'm grateful to be born, but in the
but at
same
the same
respect,
time, it's like
I didn't ask to be born, and
not like I
in that
punched the
same
tickets today.
respect, in the same respect, Maddie shouldn't ideally be presented to have to answer that question because he didn't ask to be here to answer
Exactly,
that question.
exactly.
So again, it seems weird. It seems like well, they're just kids. Let them think for themselves. But that as a parent, that's something you should be precautious of.
Exactly.
Of what questions or what understandings are your kids trying to come across, and what are they seeing?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, and I know this was a conversation that was mentioned, back in the day, when fathers were the head of the household and they were always working.
Yeah.
The kids didn't know any better. I'm sure a lot of kids didn't know until maybe they were adults.
Like, oh, this is
Okay,
why
that
dad
this
was
is
never
why dad
around.
was never around, and
Yeah.
this is what he was doing, and now I'm thankful for it. And again, kind of like we spoke about in the last episode about the variables. Well, them not knowing that until they're of an adult mindset
Yeah.
could be traumatic.
Yeah. Because then they could just turn around and be like, oh, my dad just never wanted to be around. He was
Yeah,
neglecting me.
or even if they knew it was for work, like, okay, why was work more important?
More
Again,
than me.
that weird conversation and that weird crossroad where you can either take the
Well, yeah.
left path or you could take the right path, and I want to leave as little of those situations or questions up to my
Like,
children,
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
where it's like, nope, right, right, right,
Yeah.
right, right. Okay, you can think about this one. Like,
Yeah.
I know that it's unavoidable.
Yeah, listen, look, at some point or another, I feel like kids, they grow into their own. You know what I mean? Um, a perfect example of that is Rosie's kids, my older sister.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, I remember there was a point where I went over. Well, actually, we weren't going over. It was right when Matthew was born. So, obviously, my brother and sister were giving me grief about it. They were like, "Oh, you still haven't brought the baby over, whatever." Again, first time parent. I just go with what I hear. You know what I mean? Like I was nervous, I guess, about bringing him out into the world. Let's just
Yeah,
say whatever.
exposing him.
And again, he was born in October, so it wasn't exactly like it was the summertime. And it's like, oh yeah, let's go outside for the week.
Yeah.
Like no, it's cold, and then you just don't want to take chances. I guess is what I'm saying. So I remember when I first got there. I think it was in February, so he was like about 4 months or close to 4 months. And we get there, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, whatever, whatever. Oh my God,
Yeah, baby
swooning.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then one of my nephews asked me, he's like, Theo, how come you haven't come to see us? And I was like, well, puppy, the Matthew was just born. It's kind of hard for us to get out, and you got to be careful with him because he's really, really little. So, you got to make sure he can't get sick. And then he's like, oh, all right, all right. So I'm like, all right. And then he's like, oh, because, they're saying that you don't want to bring him here because you don't want to hang out with us. And I was like, come on, man. Why would you tell a kid that?
Yeah,
That's
you can't
obviously
let them
not.
play with that idea.
Yeah, like that's not the truth. So I'm like, well, I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinions, but this is why I did it. And he was like, yeah, that makes more sense because I know you like coming around because you used to come around before, Titi Kathy got pregnant. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's just a little bit harder because now, we got to do more things at the house, with the baby and things like that. And even him, he was like, yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Like I
That
get
sounds
that.
reasonable.
That sounds better. And I'm like, I was mind blown. I'm like, yo, you know what, man? Like, you can only protect your kids for so much to a certain point before they start making their own.
Yeah, they start piecing together their own image of the world or their own stories and things like that. Yeah, that's.
Yo, but when he said that, I was like,
Man, how old was he?
I think he was 7.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in this day and age, that's pretty old. He's like a teenager at that point. Just the way that these kids are, their minds are
God, yes.
growing exponentially.
It really, yeah.
I'm like, what's 7 gonna be for Samara? Like, she's already a wild child.
Sam is such a ball of energy. I love it. I love it.
She
is I get in little samples.
She's just Samara. She's spunky. She has my arrogance. She has my she has my wit. She has my mouth. Like oh man.
It's like mini you.
What did I create? Like every time she does it, I'm just like, obviously you get frustrated and you have to, steer them right, but I'm kind of like, Dom, that's your fault, bro. That is your fault.
What? I used to do the same thing, so.
But again, I want to raise. I guess I want my daughter to have those characteristics or habit. Again, especially in this world today, like, I do have fears of, my daughter's either being naive or being taken advantage of. Especially what you hear in the news and things of that nature. And I want them to think like a man. If that sounds politically correct / where I'm going in a way. I don't want them, I guess, not to say, again, for lack of better words, I don't want them to be overly sensitive. And this is just me, again, maybe stereotyping womanhood, I'll call it what it is, but I want them to be very aware, self-acting, very grounded. And I guess it comes off as a male trait because, it's very strong and very not woman-esque / again, I'm stereotyping. Obviously, we keep it real here. I want them to have that kind of mindset that I have where, I'm always thinking, I'm always trying to think one step ahead of everybody else in front of me. And I want them to be aware. I want them to be strong. I want them to be opinionated. I want them to stand their ground. Like I as much as I hate it, I love when my daughter tries to, like, right now her reasons are very valid.
She doesn't have really strong grounds to stand
for
up.
For why she's arguing back with me or doesn't want to do what I'm telling her. But the fact that she's even thinking about it or thinking, well, like, why can't I do this if this is what I want to do? Yeah. In which I tell her, I'm your father and you have to listen to me. But just the fact that she's already, boom, thinking about that, like, well, why not?
Exactly.
Why not?
Why is it that I can't do what I want to do?
Yeah, question things and obviously in certain examples such as the ones that I present her with, she can't do whatever she wants. But don't just go with the flow either.
Exactly.
Think
question things.
Be strong in who you are.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's actually something she's gonna grow up and appreciate.
I hope so. Hope it doesn't turn against me. It's gonna backfire. There's gonna be argument after argument. I'm like, when does the debate end, child? When?
You know what? We only have 3 arguments back and forth, and that's it. After that, we gotta stop.
You're 13 and you still don't have a reasonable argument. What are you doing here? Because her argument right now is because she's 4. She's 4. That's why she can do everything she wants to do because she's 4. What else? I forgot what else. That's her predominant 90%
Dude,
of our argument.
You know when I was like, yo, this girl is gonna be definitely like Dom. Absolutely. Was when she was downstairs on the little Matthew's little chair, and she was like this on the phone. I'm like, who are you? Like, what are you doing?
What email are you sending out right now? What's going on, boss? What's happening here? Yeah, she's very charismatic. She's very outgoing.
Man, I love it.
She's a treat. That's the best way to. She's always surprised me with stuff. Her thing with my wife now is TikTok.
Oh man, you gotta get her on the TikTok.
We gotta spin ours up.
Yeah.
But Joanna uses her all the time, and she learns things very quickly.
Yeah.
And she like knows what she wants to do. Like she did one today. Like I came home, I was dropping off packages. I came back home. She's like, I want to sing you something, and I'm like, I know it's a TikTok thing. Like, anytime I'm called over, it's just for TikTok now. I have no other use in life but you paying the rent and doing TikTok features. Yeah. So she ends up like singing this whole song, and it's a lengthy song with like different words. It's not repeating words.
Yeah.
She knew all the words. She had like her little acting scene going on with it. I'm just like,
did you join in?
Oh yeah, I did. I gave her like a little thing at the end. Like it's always I try to like lock in. Like you'll see me if you see me in the TikToks, you'll see me like look at her. I'm like just really trying to process what is going on sometimes, and like how this little human being is doing everything she is at 4 years old. Like some people have like very athletic gymnastic, kids play piano. Like my daughter's just super eccentric at 4 years old. That's what I got. Okay, she's awesome in that sense.
She absolutely is.
Yeah, that's just that. I can see my skills because I wasn't that way when I was a kid. I was very reverse. I'm very averse to who I am now.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't know you like that. Like,
my grandmother's husband, he used to record like family home gatherings and stuff like that, and it's just be like quiet Dom in the corner eating Oreos. I seem like a cat, and it's so weird that I'm thinking about it now because like I hate cameras now. Like
really?
Just in a sense where obviously we can have a conversation and it's live. I don't mind, a recording of us because we're having a conversation and I'm going to act how I'm normally going to act.
Yeah.
Like, when Joanna blogs, for me, it's almost like a weird false reality because you almost don't, like here, again, we're up front. We're, for the most part, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And we'll talk about, what I meant at some point in time when the question comes up.
Yeah.
With the vlogs, obviously, you have to pick and choose, you have to cut some stuff out. And it's just weird interacting, knowing that there's something like looking at me and knowing that somebody else is going to see it. Again, it's different in the conversation. Like when we do lives on YouTube, perfectly fine because I'm interacting. Like it's recorded. It's not something and not that our life is pre-recorded either or scripted.
But you don't feel like it's forced. Like kind of.
Yes, it's not forced. It's not like okay, I'm recording this of us doing something. It's just like why? Like,
what are you doing?
Why can't I just do this?
See, Samara.
So so she's completely opposite in both senses. Again, I was very introverted when I was a kid, but when I saw a camera, I would eat like little Oreo cookies in front of the camera, like this weird, awkward kid stuff. Like obviously, again. We had a different generation growing up.
Wish I had an Oreo right now.
Yeah. And they're vegan. I can start my diet. This is weird. Very to myself. Very like I played video games. And she's like opposite in both senses where she loves life. She's very expressive. And if she's in front of a camera,
it's like, that's it.
Kissy faces and peace signs all day. But I know what she's obviously embracing is my character now because I've come out of my shell.
I was gonna say
I'm very energetic in a sense.
Oh no, definitely energetic.
So, I'm almost curious. Like, are you gonna like flip this? Are you gonna flip the switch, the opposite switch, and like be like introverted when like are you gonna be so tired of being who I am now? Because this is new to me essentially.
Yeah.
For at least a better half of my life. Are you just gonna be tired of like?
Being so like
being eccentric, and you're like, okay, I just want
to
be low key for the rest of my 50 other years of life.
Never going out anymore.
Yeah, like that's one that I doubt it because I'm not gonna stop. So I can just see her like, or maybe she'll stop because I'm the annoying dad.
No, I don't see that happening.
Neither do I, because she's
she
not embarrassed of me yet.
not yet, but it does happen. It does happen though. It does happen. It does happen. No, because like perfect example, like with me, right? When we were growing up, I never thought that my dad could ever do anything embarrassing. You know what I mean? And then it's like you get to a certain age where you're like, come on, Dad, stop, man, you're embarrassing me, man. Like my friends are here, you know, like
Yeah, because we get stuck in generational gaps, I think, or generational
yeah,
perspectives and actions.
yeah,
I see it a lot with the youth group when I used to have like Bible class and stuff. I used to like say words and stuff. They used to look at me like, "What is this? Like, you guys never heard the bomb? You guys never heard
like
off the
seriously,
hook?"
like really,
Like, no, like okay, I'm just gonna shut
feel
my old
outdated
self
now.
up. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard, like, because obviously you try to say, obviously you hear it enough where things start getting trendy. Like I hated the word lit, but I caught myself
Yeah,
saying it a couple of times too. I'm like, oh my god. But it
yeah,
sounds weird, it coming from like an older person, at least to a
of
younger
course,
person.
yeah. Because
Like,
they're
hey,
like,
this is lit, and they're like,
hmm,
why are
why are you trying
you?
to talk like
How old are you, bro?
that?
Like, you got 3 kids.
You still
you
talking like
know,
that?
you're retired, and you're saying lit, like. But it almost, again, just based off of culture and what's happening now,
Yeah.
it just
No,
absorbs itself.
like for my dad, like from my experience, he was like, and I'll never forget this. One day he's like, "Oh, this is gonna sound like so like typical," but he's like, "Oh, give me a hug." But all my friends were around, so I'm like, "Come on, Dad, man, you're doing this to embarrass me." So I gave him a hug,
Mhm.
and then he kissed me on the cheek, and all my friends were like, "Oh yeah, look at little daddy's boy." Oh, I'm like, "Thanks, Dad, you just embarrassed me." And I guess it's because like I didn't want to be embarrassed in front of my friends because
Yeah.
like I didn't want them to I guess that, but like now it's like if I see my
Yeah, now
dad or
you would
my mom,
appreciate,
I'm like,
yeah.
no, come here. Like
And
I'm
now
the
it is
one.
what it is. Yeah, yeah. That's that's weird. I hope she doesn't grow up. I hope, like, again, she grows up kind of like me now, like where I don't care. Like, oh yeah, that's my dad. He loves me, he embarrassed me, and
Yeah.
he's just that goofy guy who wants to be cool all the time. So that's me. Just want to be cool all the time. So I can hope, like, I want to have that friendship. I want to have that bond where it's not embarrassing because she already knows what it is, and she doesn't care. She stands her ground, and
She definitely stands her ground.
It's a love that transcends what everybody else from the outside thinks.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think that she's gonna change, like from like like so expressive, so outgoing to like an introvert, like later in life. I think she's gonna stay who she is now because this is something that she knows. This is something that she's comfortable with, obviously,
Mhm.
because you
Yeah.
see her. So I think that like for me, like looking at her, it'd be like, nah, man, that's who she really is. Like she enjoys being that person. Like I can't picture her like going to coming here and then just like sitting
Yeah,
in the
sitting
corner.
down and
I'm like, you all right? Like you sick? Like you want to talk? Like you wanna take your temperature real quick? Like yeah, I don't see that happening. But not in a bad way. I mean, look, I think that it's great that kids express themselves, and they're not like so like I don't want to say how do I don't think the kids should be controlled to the extent where it's like go sit in a corner, go do this, go do
yeah,
that. Like you gotta let kids be kids too. You know what I mean?
agreed.
Because then they gonna grow up and they're gonna end up resenting you, and then that's a whole different.
Yeah, that's a whole different battle. I don't want to fight.
Yeah, I feel like you got to keep the good things for kids. You know what I mean? Like that innocence, you got to preserve it. Their energy, you got to preserve it. There's certain things that I don't want Matthew to know about till he's a little bit older because he's not going to understand it.
Yeah, can't explain all the nuances and stuff
Exactly.
of situations.
Yeah. So it's like where I feel like you got to let kids be kids. Like perfect example today with the stickers. Like as soon as I walked in, I'm like, why are there stickers on the door? Like, come on, man.
Yep.
Like, come on.
Yep.
And of course, Kathy immediately defending him. She's like, "Oh no, but
they're not
those
stickers.
They're not stickers. Like they're like little plastic ones. They just stick on walls, but like they don't really actually like stick." I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And then they become chew toys, and they become something else. I've already been there, been through that phase. I'm still finding them. It's just, and again, like you said, you just have to.
You gotta
let it
kids,
be sometimes.
Yeah, man, let kids be kids. You gotta let them have small victories.
I wish they would clean up. I just wish they would clean up.
Matthew cleans up, and then he makes a mess like literally 2 seconds later.
At least he cleans up.
We taught him to put things into the bin, whatever that he threw them out of, and then it's like he'll put like one thing, the toy truck, whatever, the piano, and then as soon as like he sees it kind of full, he's like, oh no, I don't like it, and he dumps it back up. And I'm like, well, I guess clean time's over. So.
Well, he's halfway there. Maybe we should come here more often. And my girl is like, we have to remind them, like, hey, you can't go to the side before you. But even that's like pulling teeth.
Again, man, you got to let them have the small victories, man.
It's so hard. I think we're at that stage. It started. It's almost like we question when we're gonna get out of it, because obviously, you know, when you have like the newborn stage, you're like, everything's just a mess.
Yeah.
And you know it's a mess because you just don't have energy. The baby's crying, stuff is happening, and then they're, you know, stage 2. We'll say 1 to 2 years old. They're playing around, throwing things around. So now we're like, you know, stage 3 and 4 years old, and like they can kind of clean up for themselves, but nope. Stuff is just,
like, no, I'm not going.
Stuff is just still a mess, and it's like you literally have to like deep clean every day, or at least it feels like it. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Nah, dude. It's like,
it feels like.
Watch, before we leave, I want you to go into Matthew's room today. Just real quick, just to pop your head in, because Kathy told me the other day, like I think it was on Wednesday. I got home, and you know, I put Matthew to bed, whatever, and normally he just goes to sleep in our bed, and then now we take him to his crib or whatever. So I'm putting him in his crib, and I must have stumbled over something or kicked something, whatever. He kind of woke up, but whatever, he fell back asleep. I'm like, all right. So I turned the light on. It literally a tornado hit that room. But I'm like, yo, it wasn't like this morning. Like, what happened? And she literally just told me, she was like, yo, honestly, I didn't care. She's like, yo, like, it wasn't worth, like, trying to keep up with him and, you know, whatever. Like, I was just like, yo, just do what you want. And look, again, is it, you know, is it
defeating?
Yeah, it is, because it's like, you know what, like, man, I can't keep anything clean in the house. But again, like, you gotta let kids be kids. Like, you can't yell at them either, because then they're gonna. I feel like if you yell at your kids for leaving a mess or playing too much, then they're gonna be like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, and then like they go with that, and then maybe like next time they won't like play as much as they normally would. When, you know, it's good for kids to get all that energy out of the system. Like, I think Matthew, the more he plays, the better.
Yeah, longer nights of sleep.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Absolutely. Like the other day, her mom was like, "Oh yeah, you know, I feel bad because like, you know, we had him running around their house or whatever," and I'm like, "Why do you feel bad?" She's like, "No, because like, you know, like he just wanted to keep playing," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's great.
That's perfect.
The more, the better." And she's like, "But you know, like I want him to have energy with you guys." I'm like, "Listen, I have all the energy for this kid. I've seen it. I love it. The more energy he dispenses with you guys, the better for us."
Yeah.
Because he sleeps through the night, you know, he doesn't fight things. Like I was telling Kathy, she's like, "Oh my God, it's 8 o'clock, it's his bedtime." I'm like, the later he goes to bed, it's literally just give him a bottle and he's just like, yo.
See you in the morning. Yeah. This is weird, these weird parental battles and thoughts.
Yeah, man.
It's fun.
It is.
It's fun because you almost like bite yourself. Like, come on, let me teach them. But then you like, you say, let them be kids.
And look,
and let it rock.
Yeah,
and
again, like,
another time you're like, oh, my house is such a mess.
Like I told her, I was like, look, you know what? I think that we're at that stage, the 1 to 2 stage. You know, so it's like, yeah, it's impossible to keep things clean with him. Like, perfect example, when you were sitting down today, why do you keep bringing you his toys?
Oh yeah, he bought me piano. He bought me some weird
so like
noise making device.
So if you're cleaning things and you're constantly putting them away, and like he wants to show it to you or he wants to play with it or whatever the case may be, he's gonna go and get it anyway. Mm-hmm. So like just thinking of that, it's like, yo, it's impossible to keep things.
Sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting. So I'm like,
So moral of the story, guys, it's okay to have a messy house.
Yeah.
Let's throw it out there. If you're a parent, you most likely have, unless you have some type of maid services, unless you have assisted child care, your house is most likely a mess.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Or at least we're saying it's okay.
It's okay
to make ourselves feel better.
Look, man, it's impossible to keep up with it. You know what I mean? Like on a day-to-day basis, we tried. The only time that I think that we were actually really, really good at it was when we were both home. because when we were with the COVID thing, we were both, furloughed or whatever. For me, that was the best thing that ever happened because it wasn't that hard to keep
Yeah.
up with
Well, I
everything.
can tell you, I remember when I first came, I think you hadn't gone back to work yet.
Yeah.
Much
Everything.
much cleaner.
Yeah.
It's not. Please don't take it as a diss because you've seen my house.
No.
So,
Listen,
but yeah, and then you come in today, you're like, okay, they're back at work.
Okay, yeah, definitely back at work.
They're back.
Okay.
They're not keeping up with this. Yeah, that's funny.
Hey man, look, it is what it is, dude.
Yeah.
I don't even fight it. Like I'm just like, whatever. But again, it's those small victories. You got to give him you got to let him feel like he's learning things. He's got to do things. Kids overall they're growing. They're understanding things differently. But you got to let them enjoy it. And I personally feel like for me like kind of like telling him like, no, you can't do that. Like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Like, oh, put all this stuff away. Like constantly, it's kind of gonna, again, it's one of those variables where it's like, you know what? Maybe this is gonna affect him later where he doesn't want to play anymore because he's gonna be like, oh no, I used to get yelled at for that, or oh, I shouldn't like go running around anymore. It's like, even when I tell him like, Matthew, don't run, it's like it's literally just like that. Like, Matthew, don't run, you're gonna fall.
Yeah, it's more like
It's more like this is like just.
It's more like your cry for help than it is anything else. He's not hearing you.
No, he's definitely not. He's still running like full speed.
Just letting Kathy know you're still so much trying. No, Matthew, please stop. Carry on.
Like second, like almost dream. I'm like, I'm almost there, man. I can go to sleep in like 2 seconds. And then I hear him running. I'm like, oh, I guess not.
That's the worst. We're doing good. I think we ended this on a lighter note.
Yeah.
We started dark. We're sorry for that. I think.
Yeah.
Something we just had to, just get off our chest so we can laugh a bit. But yeah.
This is gonna be it. This is gonna be the one that's like.
We did good. It's weird that we keep talking about timing at the end of every episode. We did good. We were at 58 minutes or 56 minutes last episode. So now we can be at a good 55. We're getting better.
Again, guys, please leave us some questions. Anything you guys want to talk about? Any topics?
Anything.
And that again doesn't just go to guys; it goes to women as well, especially mothers. We want to hear from everybody's sides. We want to hear and get these questions out there. Because again, we're at a different day and age where it's not something where you should look at dads a certain way or moms a certain way. It's like, this is the ultimate team sport, I think. Because
we're not getting paid enough to do it. That's for sure. I need my LeBron James money ASAP.
I wouldn't mind coming off the bench, so to speak, with the pay.
Listen, I'll start. I want my money. But yeah, guys, please go ahead, follow Instagram, follow us on YouTube, comment below if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think comment. It would be nice if I actually saw if like some of the podcast features if they can comment. I'm pretty sure they can. I think you can leave comments on podcasts now.
I don't really know.
Or do you just listen?
I haven't really.
Listen, guys, we're new to this.
Yeah.
Excuse our ignorance. But yeah, Instagram. Let's keep talking.
Yeah.
We'll keep bringing you our problems till then. So
yeah.
Hope you enjoy them. My name's Dom.
I'm Ralphie.
Catch you guys on the next episode.